Welcome to Movie to Beer, everybody. This is Dan Capersi coming at you, and today we have our awesome co-hosts.
You got Blake, your Necronomicon expert.
Evil Randall.
Ooh. And on this wonderful episode during the wonderful month of October,
Thunder sound.
Crash Boom Bang,
Creepy
we
laughter.
watched the original Evil Dead. We had a couple of really interesting IPAs, and we're like, hey, we really should try to find a fun movie. We debated, and we finally ended up, we were going to watch Evil Dead 2, because that's the more iconic one everyone knows. But Evil Dead 1 set the stage. It set the premise. And I think we were talking about, was this the beginning of the genre?
I think it's the beginning of the teens in a cabin genre, because while we were watching, I kept saying, there's no way this is before Friday the 13th. There's no way this was before. It was before a lot of those.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff came out in 83, 84, and this was 81.
I did no research.
Good man. That's what Evil Randall do.
I went in blind.
Yeah, I think all of us had seen it before.
Randall, it's kind of tough to see a movie if you're blind, man.
Yeah. We when we were talking about what we wanted to watch, and we kept bringing up scenes from Evil Dead 2 instead of this one, and we decided to watch this one, and then found out we're like, oh, wait.
Yeah, spoiler alert, his hand doesn't get cut off in this one.
No, not in this one. It
we
doesn't.
really thought it did.
Evil Dead 2, not Evil Dead 1. But there is the chainsaw. That's why we watched the preview, the trailer for it, and it's like, oh, there is a chainsaw in it. But yeah. He ends up going back to the cabin in number 2 for some unknown reason.
It's a great
We'll have to watch it, 'cause I thought they were just there. We'll have to watch it for next time.
Yeah, we'll watch it next time.
Next year.
But so this is written and directed by Sam Raimi. Bruce Campbell, obviously, if anyone knows anything about Bruce Campbell, he actually lived in Oregon or still lives in Oregon. He's been here a long time, down in like the Salem, Eugene area.
Oh. Yeah, him and Danny Glover are surprise Oregon.
Danny Glover?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I
Get
didn't
too
know
old
that.
for this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's the Kids Bop version.
Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi and Richard DeManicore and some of the people who were involved in the like production of it, and they were all in film school together. So this is like a college project.
I didn't realize there was a bunch of them. I thought it was just Raimi and Campbell. Cool.
No,
Felt like
a bunch of them knew each other, and they basically made it for next to nothing.
Yeah.
Felt like that.
And it grossed like 25 million worldwide. It premiered at like the Cannes Film Festival.
Stephen King.
And got picked up. And Stephen King
saw it and it was like, I love this.
Yeah. Because it's so first person perspective, and then the third person perspective shots are like real. It's like there's no green screen. It's all physical prop.
The most FX you get is Deadites routing, the stop motion style.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you see the trailer, you see that.
Oh,
You've seen the whole movie if you watch the trailer.
Watch the trailer.
You've seen the whole movie, yeah. So basically, they go to this cabin in the middle of Tennessee somewhere,
rural Tennessee
for vacation, and kids go into the cabin. What's going to happen? They find a tape recorder in the basement and play the tape,
like you do.
And of course, there's chanting, and it's the scientist who is doing research on it, and he brought the research back, including the little teeny Book of the Dead that. At least the cover of it, the mini Monicon or whatever you want to call it. It was really small, unlike the other movies in the Evil Dead series, where it's a really big book.
But I recently saw a post on Facebook. Someone was pitching Bruce Campbell to run Reading Rainbow, and it was a picture of him at a convention holding a fan-made Necronomicon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and the other thing I remembered is I like how the tape recording had perfect pronunciation to summon the evil. Whereas in other movies, when they're reading Latin all sloppy, like you're not going to summon a demon with bad pronunciation.
Yeah,
no.
But this guy did his homework.
Yeah,
it sounded legit.
You made a comment about bongos.
I guess Hanna-Barbera helped produce the movie. There's a scene where one of the teens is running and there's bongos.
It's
like really Randall and I were looking at each other thinking, what is happening?
I feel like bongos were just were an instrument back in the day, in the 70s, that were used to create suspense.
It was a chase scene.
It was a chase scene.
It was a chase scene, so there's bongos. I don't know if there was xylophone. I don't remember hearing xylophone, but there's definitely bongos.
Well, no, there are no skeletons playing their ribs, so no xylophone.
So the other thing was, I had an issue with, we were looking at it, and the first time Cheryl runs away, when at the end of the recording, she's like freaking out because there's the window, the shutters are going, and a tree falls through the window, and she runs, and you don't really see the lights on the front of the cabin when she runs, but when she comes back, it's like 3 giant floodlights. I'm like, they had no ambient lighting. All of the lighting in this film are from the inside lights of the cabin or the ones on the front. The stuff that happens like out in the woods and stuff, they use small lighting for that to make it more realistic. Like I can barely see So I liked that, but it was like, what is this, a movie set?
I liked that the undead spirits, they don't like closed doors.
They don't.
You close that door and they go away.
Well,
They're
They're like
vampires.
intrusive parents.
They
No locked doors in my house.
You have to invite them in. If you don't invite them in, they can't come in.
Yeah, well, makes sense.
Yes.
Or when Bruce Campbell's character was blocking the door with that rolling record player.
Oh, the thing on wheels,
cabinet,
yeah.
Whatever that was.
But the
And
windows had been busted out and open. So it's like
literally next to the door. It was like
Literally.
a full window broken open. Makes sense. Yeah, you could tell that there was some questionable choices here.
and
Production.
Strangely out of focus shots.
everything
Yeah.
was out of focus except for a few. And then the one that I think you're copywriting this is selective continuity.
Yes, selective continuity. That's gonna be the name of my Rage Against the Machine cover album.
You could sort of tell the order they shot it in with like. They show a close up of his leg his
Yes.
pants getting ripped open and getting clawed, and then the very next scene it's not there, and you're
Dan
like,
was not having it.
Yeah. It was
what's going on?
Yeah.
And then like 2 scenes later, it was back, and you're like, well, I can tell the order because they're not gonna like keep redoing it. They're gonna try and shoot like once that happens,
Right.
they're gonna do it. So they
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
didn't shoot it in order that they edited it down into.
I mean, that
so.
just must be a hard concept to get going to film school, continuity, right?
Well, it was for this
you
film.
know, it seems like a pretty basic concept. Like, just let's plan everything out and let's make sure things are in order. I don't know. I don't get it.
And they shot it for next to nothing. So I mean, you could
I
tell
can-
that it
I
was
believe it.
total practical budget, like low end, and it's fine. I think, as I think we all agreed, most of the money probably went to the claymation stop motion stuff at the end.
Yeah.
Where they had the decomposing deadites, as they're referred to.
And yet here we are 35, 40 years later watching it.
Yeah. And
So
still
they got
amazed.
something right. I mean, I'd watch it again in another 30 years, maybe.
Maybe.
I might watch it again on Halloween.
Well, I'd rather watch like Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Or one of the newer ones
One
that
of the more
actually
mature
has a little
ones.
bit better
Bubba
special
Hotep.
effect.
More production value.
Yeah, something. Some Bruce Campbell film, because that should be our tradition.
Bubba Hotep.
I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they.
Oh, yeah.
They just really went for it in this movie. Started a genre.
They did.
What did we drink with this fabulous film? We had some good beers.
We did.
drink
We had,
beers,
we
and
had
that's
2
all there is.
really good beers, but do we have a commercial before we
Oh,
move on
yeah.
to the beer discussion?
Yeah, Blakeco Industries has expanded into the housing market with Blakeco Realty. We at Blakeco Realty have a collection of lovely homes that have recently hit the market. First is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 1 ghost Dutch colonial in the quiet neighborhood of Long Island, New York. This large family home in the Amityville neighborhood boasts a dog park, small business quarter, and a spacious area to stand while regarding this big, scary house. Next up is the fixer-upper in Upper Connecticut. Recently vacated by the Dietzes, this classic colonial-style home has everything a new family with an emo daughter and art-obsessed partner could want. We're talking quiet neighborhood, big front and backyard, and a foul-mouthed ghost willing to make deals. Some say if you listen carefully, you can hear a young Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis puttering around the home. The last house we have to offer is the sort of deal you don't want to sleep on, lest you miss out. A cozy Tudor-style home located on the corner of 13th and Elm Street is within walking distance of a school with a large boiler room. Ignore those rumors of a blade glove-wielding maniac who says the word bitch a lot for some reason, and buy this house already.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. This is Dan Kapersky. This is Movie to Beer. We're talking about Evil Dead and these 2 awesome beers that we imbibed while we watched the film. They were both collaboration beers, both from Cerveza. The first one was A Beginning of a Beautiful Friendship, which is a double New England IPA from Kings and Daughters and Reubens Brewing, both out of the Seattle area. Now, we thought this was a really interesting rounded beer. I think Randall was the first one to taste it, and he was like, this is really interesting.
It is. It was.
It does not taste like an 8.3%,
No.
nor does it have a really strong bitter upfront profile.
No.
It has an interesting kind of tropical, like really deep fruit. There's a lot of text on the can, which we did not read ahead of time, which we should have. But I found out after we looked
If we
it
read
up,
the text out loud, it would summon beerites.
It would. It would.
You gotta watch out for those guys.
Yeah, you really. So this is an interesting beer. It uses grape skins as a bittering agent
From New Zealand,
along with Freestyle Farms Nelson Salvin, which is the Nelson Salvin is a strain of hops that's from New Zealand, but they also do grow it here in the States. But the style is more of a tropical floral and not traditionally put into a New England style. those tend to be just more of the fruit, like grapefruit and pineapple and so on, juicy ones. So this is
New Zingland style.
it is a really interesting beer.
I like it.
I liked it. I think we all liked it. It really doesn't have that much of a bitter profile. It doesn't tast like a bitter beer.
But it
tastes
has
just
that
like,
alcohol kick.
Yeah, it definitely had that alcohol kick. But it was interesting. So the reason they used the grape skins is that this specific type of grape, this is a Sauvignon Blanc, it's heavy in thiols, thiols. I have to read that because I've never heard that word before, which is a compound that typically pushes tropical fruit notes through whatever it's being made with, be it a wine or a beer or whatever.
Thanos' cousin.
Thanos' cousin, yes.
Thios.
Thios?
He just wanted to take out a quarter.
Wasn't he a farmer?
He was at the end.
Yeah, that's how he retired.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
With his busted up arm.
So really good beer, interesting. It lasted about half the movie because we were just sipping on it really slow. We did have 4 packs each, but we did not plow through that many. I think we shared the first one. The second one we had towards the middle end of the movie was a collaboration between Brothers Cascadia and Gigantic Brewing called We're Gonna Need a Bigger Bridge IPA. So unlike We're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat, we're gonna need a bigger bridge. And I thought that was a funny name for a beer. And
It's a very funny name
both
for a beer.
Brothers Cascadia up in Vancouver and Gigantic here in Portland make amazing beer.
I love a giant beer.
And
I love
it
giant
actually,
brewing.
so the can, I actually have one in front of us, has a little shark underneath the bridge
Nice.
that says IPA on him.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Jaws. I get it.
Got it.
Yeah, and it's made with Idaho 7 Citra and I think it says Crystal. Yeah, Crystal hops. All of these out of
Made with
Idaho.
real crystals.
So and this is a really hop forward, really super bitter beer face beer. I was like, oh, pucker.
I like this one a little better than the first one.
Yeah,
I also feel like it matched the movie a little better.
I agree.
yeah,
But they were.
This beer won.
definitely. Any other thoughts on the beer other than it's just really bitter? It's a good IPA. It's very traditional, medium body. It's only, I think, 5.9%, so not super crazy high alcohol. It does have a considerable amount of resiny kind of profile. So if you know, like a hop cone resin, like it's got a little bit of that, not quite pine, but kind of resin, and then some tropical and citrus on it.
I think the tropical citrus is what always sells it for me.
Yeah.
I love a citrusy IPA.
Well, since this beer obviously is the winner, maybe we should rename it. Play our beer name rename game.
You know it.
Theme music.
Yeah. Pew, pew, pew.
So I'm going to explain it again as I do every episode. You go to IMDb, you go to whatever it is you're watching, and if you scroll partway down the page, you'll find a little section that has some keywords that have circles around them, and then a number with a plus sign that says more. Click on that, and that'll give you the full list. Keywords that have been submitted by users that have an account with IMDb, so they're just random people, and then you can rate them as this is more relevant or not, and some of them get towards the top if they have more ratings of approval, and some don't. And this has, 262 plot keywords? So
Something like that.
we pick a couple and try to rename the beer, and whoever wins, wins.
We've determined that this is the best use of IMDb plot keywords.
Correct. Other than
Yeah.
songwriting.
Real
Oh,
quick,
yeah,
though,
true.
how is it the phrase Book of Evil, 2 of 3 found that it's relevant? How's it not 3 out of 3? That seems deranged. Anyway.
Okay.
I don't know how you get more than one person saying it is or it isn't. Maybe somebody clicked on it and said not relevant. Because Book of the Dead is the whole point. It's the Necronomicon. So interesting. So this beer is a really hoppy forward IPA. Blake, you got first call. You got first dibs.
I'm going to play a little turntable mixing here and say zombie body part.
Yes, that's a good name for
There
a beer.
were a few of those.
Yeah.
I got one. I don't see this word up here, but I'm going to go for it anyways. We're going to need a bigger cabin.
Ooh.
We're
Oh,
gonna
I
get-
like that.
The cabin was actually like the TARDIS. It was way bigger on the inside than what it looked like
Yeah,
from
that
the outside.
was a
It had
weird-
like
it had-
multiple bedrooms, a
yeah.
bathroom,
And the doctor
closet.
was just hanging out.
And it was. And then the basement was undone, but had all kinds of fun things in
The
it.
plumbing in that place. Wow, so much plumbing for a cabin.
Yeah.
All right, Dan.
I'm just going to call it the shovel through the head.
Shovel through the head. That was
Dang
the first
it.
one if you drank too many.
Yes.
That was the Reubens. I like that too.
Yeah. And that happened in the film a few times. You got shovels upside the head and through the head.
Well, you decide, people, what's the name? What's the name going to be? Is it going to be
Zombie body parts.
zombie body part? We're going to need a bigger cabin or shovel to the head.
And I have my vote.
Well, let's let the listeners, sorry,
They watch with their ear balls.
This is my first time.
Yeah, keep telling
we
yourself
had
that.
a voice double for Randall for the first 50 whatever episodes.
Exactly.
He's finally has time to join us for real.
Well, I think that's an episode. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I like it. I'd listen to this again.
All right. So, as always, the opinions expressed during the taping of this episode are those of the hosts, and we want to thank you very much for listening in, giving us a chance to entertain you with our interesting take on beers and films and shows. And as always, drink lots of water, because if you don't hydrate,
You'll dihydrate.
yes, you will.
Yep. Let's watch another scary movie soon.
We should do that. There's some interesting ones coming out. But
Not Halloween yet.
we
got
digress.
time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. This is Dan signing out.
Blake
Right.
says bye now.
And Randall.